Welcome. Today we're going to be learning how to tie the light Cahill. This is the second in a series of beginner fly tying sessions that we have started this year 2020. And so today I'm going to give a step-by-step instruction as to how I tie the light Cahill. For this series, you will be receiving an envelope that contains all of the materials that you need to tie several of the light Cahill. And you will receive an envelope somewhat like this, and in that envelope you will find each of the components that are needed. The hook, a hackle feather that's used for the tail as well as for the beard, and a mallard flank feather that's used for the wing. Just three relatively simple materials, along with dubbing, which is used for, I have my dubbing here, which is used for the abdomen of the fly. So let's get started. So at first I'm going to pinch down the barb of the hook, as we customarily do, before putting the hook in the vise. And then I start my thread immediately behind the eye of the hook, allowing just a very small gap between the hook eye and where I've started the thread wrap. I wrap the thread back towards the bend of the hook, stopping almost immediately above the barb of the hook. Clip off my extra thread. Then I select a section of saddle hackle, in this particular case, because the light Cahill calls for a cream-colored feather. That's what I'm using. So I hold the feather in my right hand, select a section of the hackle with my left, a quick pull, and I get a small bundle of hackle feathers. I clip off a little bit of the end here to make it neat, and then using a pinch method, I begin to wrap forward with the thread covering the hackle butts. Then I return the thread back towards the bend of the hook, stopping just before the tie-in spot. And now I take a section of the dubbing, and I apply the dubbing in a counterclockwise direction on the thread with my finger, my forefinger, and my thumb. I'm building up now a noodle of dubbing on the thread. You might start off with this noodle being approximately an inch and a half long. The dubbing slides very easily up the thread, but I still allow a small gap between where the shank of the hook is and where the dubbing starts. And that way I can place the dubbing exactly where I want it to start on the fly, which is going to be just immediately in front of that tie-in spot. So I'm building up a taper as I'm going forward with the dubbing. And the taper is such that it's thicker in the middle of the fly than it is at both the front and the rear portion of the fly. So as a result, the fly has an extended, as I refer to it, football shape abdomen. And then I stop that dubbing approximately 1/4 of an inch behind the eye, at which location I'm going to put in a beard, which is also consists of the same hackle that I use for the tail of the fly. in which case I select another section of the neck hackle. I'm sorry, I said it again, the saddle hackle. That's going to comprise the beard. And the beard is going to be approximately the distance between the tip of the hook and the eye of the hook. Clip off a little bit of this, and then holding it just to the far side of the fly, I shorten my thread, make one wrap around, then another, and that should pull the fibers immediately underneath the hook. Clip off the excess saddle hackle, and now I'm ready to apply the wing. The wing consists of a section of mallard flank feathers, and in this particular case, while I've already cut out portions for another fly, I can still use the same by again clipping out a section from both sides. Of the feather. Lining those up. And actually, I am not satisfied with that, so I will repeat this step. I measure this to be the distance between the eye and the bend of the hook, and then holding it on top and clipping off some of this excess right now. I again use the pinch method, securing the thread between my finger and my thumb, pulling straight down, which keeps the feather wing on the very top of the fly. And then I can easily clip off the extra butts, do several whip finishes, or even half hitch finishes. Finish off the head of the fly and clip it off underneath. And there you go, a light Cahill wet fly.